Yeah, good afternoon, guys. I think just first of all, just want to say that our hearts go out to Jim Kelly, Junior's family. Man, what a great guy. My short time here, 2.5 years, almost 3 years now. Every time I was around him, extremely positive, fun to be around, and obviously loved the Bearcats through and through. So, we remember a couple of years ago we had him out to the house and played some music for our staff. Just hanging out on a picnic, and then just all over the last couple of seasons, just being able to talk to him after the game. So certainly will be missed. I feel like this year has been wild. With Jeremiah Kelly, my buddy Sean Clark, now Jim Jr. I mean, it's just a lot of heartache, really. And that's why we're sitting here trying to do life and play football. It just brings you back to what's important is family and friends, and in the midst of a college football season, and the season does not stop. And that's what we talked about to our team. When a lot of these things happen, is that it's going to go on, and we're going to keep pressing on, and that's what we have to do. So, and for us, you're looking back at Central Florida game. I thought kind of a weird game. I thought they had the ball so long throughout this game, and close to 40 minutes, and almost doubled us up in plays in this game. I think we ran 16 plays in the second half. I mean, that's wild. They ran more play, in the second half. We ran the whole game. And, it's hard to get rhythm offensively. When we did get rhythm, I thought we moved the ball well. We went down and scored, 2 field goals and 2 touchdowns in 4 of those drives. I think we only had 10 or 11 total possessions. And we're not, I think we're averaging 10 possessions on the season. We haven't had the ball very much this year. I did see a stat the other day that I think we're running the 4th least amount of plays in the country per game right now. So a couple reasons I think for that. I think defensively, trying to get off the field on 3rd and 4th down. We've had to defend the most 4th downs in the Big 12 this year. Part of that is that we've got the lead and teams feel like they got to go for it. Part of that is this 4th and short. And, we just got to find a way to get off the field in those opportunities. We haven't forced a ton of turnovers this year, but when we do stop a team on 4th down, that is like a turnover. So we're getting the ball in a decent field position when that happens. So, but as we go throughout the season, I mean, offensively, we haven't run many plays, but when we have run plays, we're pretty good. I think we're second in the country in yards per play. That means you're an efficient offense. We have to continue to be that. Obviously, we'd love to get more plays, and I hope this second half of the season we will get more opportunities to have the ball, and if we do, I feel like we'll do some great things with it. So, but proud of our guys, because our goal was to win the game, be 1-0, and that's what happened. So proud of that. Thought some guys did some great things. I mean, Max punted the ball exceptionally well again. I think he had 4 balls inside the 20 and another one that downed inside the 2. Back-to-back weeks, incredible job. Our special teams have been doing. Stephen knocking down 2 more field goals, incredible. And then, I think defensively, keeping them out of the end zone was huge. They scored 1 touchdown. It was a 19-play drive when, another 4th down, they get another opportunity down to the 2-yard line, and which is unfortunate. That's happened 2 weeks in a row for us. But other than that, man, they played outstanding. And now, we got an opportunity to go play Oklahoma State. A team that is going to be a homecoming. It was homecoming, I think, when we went there 2 years ago at night, and I understand it's one of the best homecomings throughout the country. It's huge for them, so they'll be fired up. They'll be, everybody's going to be coming back. It'll be a big crowd, great atmosphere, all those things. It's always tough to go on the road, particularly at night. It's our second night game that we had this year. So, but it's still about us. It's still about us, how we prepare. It's all about this practice this afternoon and Wednesday as we head throughout this week. Your preparation and your mindset's the key to going out and playing well. It doesn't matter who you're playing. So, but we know we'll get their best shot, and we got to have a great week of practice.
Coach, what's the balance between, I don't want to call it running up the score, but adding on, and the thought process of let's just get to the finish line, win this game, and keep it moving to the next one?
Yeah, I think you certainly don't want to put your team in a bind. I think so. Sometimes if you try to get, like, early in the games, you can be aggressive because you're trying to move the ball, you're trying to score, you're trying to pop it out there, and then as the game goes on, and if you're up a couple scores, you're like, okay, well, you kind of want to do that, but at the same time, you don't want to do something that puts your team in a way where you're losing yards or we're turning the ball over. So we've done a good job of taking care of the football, and I think that is critical and that is key in this league. You don't want to lose possessions by turning the football over. If you do that, man, your chances are really tough to win. And we've done a good job with that. So yeah, I mean, it's a good point, you know, especially when you get there in the fourth quarter and those type things where you got a lead and, you know, so you're not as aggressive. But there's a fine line. You know, we missed Goody in the second half there, which I thought would have been another touchdown. The defender fell down just maybe about half a yard overthrown. That would have been huge right there. I mean, there's a couple little points where I thought, man, you just like one more time to get a score. You know, but it is what it is. The bottom line is to come out of the game with the win.
Some thought you were not maybe as energized against UCF as you were against Iowa State. You go to Oklahoma State, you're favored by 22.5, something like that. What do you tell your guys about going on the road, you know, when everyone's telling them, hey, you ought to win big, but it's a road game, and it's a very important game for you.
It's huge, yeah. No, again, it goes back to how we prepare and our mindset. It's we got something to prove each and every time we go on the field. You're only as good as your last game, your last play. You know, what we did in the past does not matter this week. Like, it has nothing to do with this week. You know, we have to stay in the moment, and we have to focus as much as we can to go out and practice as hard as we can practice today. I mean, this needs to be our best Tuesday. I mean, it just has to be. And, you know, and it's if you're, you know, our players, we have to remind them every single time of every time we go on the field, you got something to prove. And our guys done a great job with that. The good news about our team is with guys like Gavin Gerhardt, Dante Corleone, Joe Royers, I mean, the guys that have been around here are great leaders. And they don't let us slip. Like they make everybody, hey, we know what we got to do today at practice. That's the good news. And so I think when you do that, you give yourself a great opportunity. You know, and going back to the last game, we were up for the game. I mean, we were up 17-0. I mean, you know, we just, you know, you love to double that up and do it. You know, obviously for 60 minutes, you love to be able to do that. But I think we still went out and started great. We scored a touchdown. They haven't given up a point in the first quarter. We got 7 points in the first quarter. So I mean, we did some really good things early on. Obviously, you know, some crazy things happened in that game toward the end. That 4th and 12 when he's, you know, Goldie had him and Hunt had him, and then he throws it up and it bounces off our chest. They catch it for. I mean, that's the crazy play. I mean, you know, we're off the field right there. We're gonna get the ball in the plus 40. You know, so a chance to go score. So there's some crazy things that happened in the second half of that game. 17-play drive with the punt they had, and then a 19-play drive to score. I mean, so crazy things that happened in that game. So sometimes that happens in games. But, again, it proved that we can win in different ways.
You said after the game that offense wasn't good enough and that you were going to rip everybody on Sunday. What did you see on film? What did you relay to your guys that kind of led to the slump?
Yeah, well, the good news with that is I really didn't have to. You know, the guys knew on Sunday when they came in. You know, Sunday we do corrections, and we go out on the field and we walk through those and talk about them. And they realize what happened. You know, we had drops. We had some penalties. We had, you know, some bad blocks. I mean, you know, so it was everybody. It wasn't just one person. So it was all the guys, and they understand that. The great news about our guys is they want to be the best. They want to be the best offense that we can be in the country, and we have one of the best in the country. We just got to continue to prove it each and every week. You know, and I thought we had a really good week of practice offensively. I thought Thursday and Friday were maybe our 2 best Thursday and Fridays we've had all year. You know, and then you go out in the game and you do some good things early. It was just, again, it comes back. I mean, it's hard to do anything in 16 plays. I mean, you just in a half, that's unheard of. And I think that had a lot to do with it. And it's hard to get in that rhythm. But I do think once we get a first down, man, we're hard to stop because we're rolling at that point. And so we just got to continue to do really good on first downs and get that thing going.
Scott, appreciate you addressing Jim Kelly's passing. Obviously, he'll be very missed. When you first came here, you mentioned in your introductory press conference that you have always had a fondness for this program from afar. Just when you came here, how did Jim Kelly help you get acclimated to University of Cincinnati, Clifton, and the community here?
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, you first get here and you get around him, and obviously he was here a long time, you know, and just kind of tells you the ins and outs and a lot about the history, a lot about the traditions of things in the past, you know. And then, you know, for him, Jim was always like, he was excited when we got here. Hey, you know, what can I do to help? Anything I can do to help and all that. And he was so supportive, you know, at a time where people didn't have to be supportive because, I mean, we were struggling there. We were making the first move in the Big 12 and all that. But what I appreciate about him, he was so positive each and every week, even though we were not doing great. And, but he was always, hey, man, you guys were so close. I love being around positive people. And he was one of the most positive persons I've been around. And as a coach, that's so refreshing and rewarding. And so I'll always remember that about him, of how he's so positive with us. And you know what was awesome is the fact that, this third year right here, we got ranked this weekend, and he was able to see that and hear that is awesome. That is awesome.
Coach, what has impressed you with Tawi Walker, both on and off the field?
Yeah, I mean, he's, on the field, just a powerful runner that's able to break tackles, push the pile forward, get those tough, nasty, gritty yards. Off the field, he was awesome for us in the off season. And this summer, he's one of the hardest workers. He didn't say a whole lot, but just went out there and worked hard in the weight room on all the competition stuff that we had. That's what we were looking for when we brought him in. And for him to go out and run the ball like he is, like a man on a mission, and then to be able to put Pryor out there and kind of definitely a change of pace back. It is a great 1-2 combination, just like we kind of envisioned, and happy to see where that's going in that running back room.
Coach, you mentioned the depth at the offensive line position. Obviously, on Saturday, a lot of new guys there, especially at the right tackle position. Is that something we're going to see going forward with guys like Judea, Ethan Green,
Yep.
DeAndre? Is that something we're going to see moving forward?
I think so. We, the thing about, Buford's played a lot of ball for us, got a ton of experience, has had a bunch of penalties this year. Obviously, the penalties have cost us touchdowns and yards. But I also think Judea and Ethan have earned the right to play and get some opportunities out there as well. So I think, we're certainly going to be able to see those guys this week. X is another one that's played at the left guard position as well. So, it's good to have depth. And I think as we attack the second half of the season, we're going to need all those guys because you're going to have, some guys that will get dinged up. So you're going to be able to have to put guys in with experience. And I think that's why we want to continue to play those guys.
Scott, you alluded to the last time you played Oklahoma State in Stillwater that you guys were struggling.
Mm-hmm.
You've come a long way since then as a program. Do you personally, with the success that you guys have been having since then, do you feel like you're more in tune to what you're doing as a head coach here and you're more in tune with the team that you have this season? Like, you have a better flow with what you're doing here?
Well, I mean, we got a better team than we did, when we went there last year. And I think what we've been able to do is to build out our team the way we like. Tough, gritty, hard-nosed players that play fast, that play physical. And obviously, I think you feel a lot better about going to Stillwater this year than you did 2 years ago with what we have on that plane that we're going to be taking over there. We have a lot of belief in the locker room too. I think that's huge. They believe they'll go out and play well. They believe they'll go out and get the win. So having belief is something that is hard to get, but you get that through hard work, through adversity, all the things that we've gone through the last 2 years. And so, yeah, but we love this team and our guys, and we've been saying this, since media days. Really, it's a different team with a different mindset.
In looking back at the tape, how much did UCF's focus on stopping the run maybe cause the offense to not find that rhythm? It felt like you kept trying to get it going, and they had 6 in the box, and they probably had that video of Tawi running over Iowa State 1,000 times on loop in their facility.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, they kept 6 in the box no matter what we were in formationally, and their linebackers were good. I thought they played hard. They could run. They were physical. And having that extra hat there, made a difference, and, for us. And then, we had a couple of drops early. I think if you hit some of those, you feel better about getting the ball down the field. But yeah, I mean, for us, we want to be a balanced offense. We want to be able to do both and whatever they give you, obviously. And again, a lot of the credit has to go to them. I mean, it's not just us and we didn't execute, but I mean, I thought they did a really good job of what they did defensively.
This is weird to say, but is it a challenge to face a 4-man front? Because you just see so few of them now, and did that play a factor in it too?
No, I don't think it did, but to me, their 2 ends were really good. Number 9 and number 51. I mean, they were long, they could run, they set the edges right there, right to their linebackers. And I just thought he did a really good job with that. I didn't think we played as good up front compared to what we've done in this past season as well. And then couple all of that together, just worked out like it did. And we couldn't get in that rhythm, but they had a lot to do with that. So give them credit for that. And then but we don't mind going 4 down. I think pretty much anymore every team we faced has both packages, 3 down and 4 down. Defenses are so multiple now. They do so much in the secondary. Like, it used to be cover 3 or cover 2. That's all you saw. Now you're seeing everything. I mean, 6 or 7 different coverages every game. You're like, man, what in the world's going on? The fronts are all different, all the twists and movement and blitzes. I mean, so you have to be aware of what they're going to give you, and then have a plan for that. And but again, give them credit.
You're going to face a guy that was a quarterback and then he was a wide receiver and now he's a quarterback again. And do you expect a lot of gadgetry, trick plays, that type thing? I think they had a receiver throw a touchdown pass, so
They did.
it's probably a tough team to scout in a way.
It is. They've had 8 different players throw a pass this year, which I don't know if that's a record, but it's close probably. But yeah, the player that was a wideout that's now the quarterback. You turn the film on and watch him last week against Houston. I mean, he can throw the football. Like the ball was getting ripped out there. Like he had completed the first 4 or 5 passes in that Houston game. And then they did run a double pass for a touchdown early in that game as well. So, you have to be ready for everything. I mean, this is a team that, obviously they haven't had the best of year, but it is homecoming. They do have a lot of pride. All the alumni will be coming back. They want to put on a great show for their fans. And they got pride about themselves as well. So we're going to get their best shot. Here comes a ranked team in there for homecoming. I mean, we're going to get everything they got. So, that includes special teams as well, being ready for anything that may happen on special teams, but also offensively, as you mentioned, any kind of trick play or double pass, you have to be aware of all those things because they've had so many guys that can throw the football.
Evan Tangenstall has been really consistent. I think he's one of the highest graded, if not the highest graded guards in college football. What did you see from him in those 2 years that he was sitting behind the NFL caliber guards? And did you expect to just plug and play like he's been doing so far this season?
Yeah, I think for him, he worked his butt off in the weight room. He changed his body. The before and after pictures is incredible what he's been able to do. And yeah, we anticipated him being plugging right in and picking up where DT and Kendra left off. I think he played a little bit last year in rotation, but knew he was going to be inserted as a starter this year, and he was fired up about that. I think he's played outstanding football as well as the other guys have up front. Also having Gerhardt right beside him helps a lot. Gerhardt, helping Taryn and Evan, just telling them where to go and what to do. But he's a strong player. Once he gets his hands on you, he's going to be able to move you where he wants to. And I still think his best football is ahead of him. I still think he's continued to grow and continue to develop and get better. But yeah, he's had a very solid year so far.
Coach, obviously, college football this year has kind of been a whirlwind in terms of the coaching carousel there. James Franklin just gets fired over the weekend. Mike Gundy, who coached Oklahoma State. Have you seen kind of a different play style in Oklahoma State since Coach Gundy's been gone?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different. Since they made the change at defense coordinator also, so they made a change. I think when Gundy got let go, then he coached one more game, and then they let him go, and so then it's another defensive coordinator. So a little bit different defensively. The guy that's calling it now, Clint Bowen, is going back to what he knows best. I think, as you would suspect. Offensively, they've just had so many issues at quarterback and having to play with a bunch of different quarterbacks. It's really kind of hard to figure out where they want to settle in on offensively. So therefore, it makes it a little bit more challenging about what you have to defend. And this special teams has been. I think they're really good on special teams. They're very solid on the teams. They play hard. They play physical. So yeah, I mean, I think for us, you coming in, and it's hard on a coaching staff. You just removed your head coach, and now you have an interim, and all the coaches are scrambling a little bit and trying to keep the guys locked in and focused each and every week. It's very difficult. I think they've done a good job with that. The guys are going out and playing hard. And again, we'll get their best shot this week.
Scott, the last 2 games, second half, been a struggle to put some points on the board after strong first halves. But we've seen this team have a lot of success in the second half, including in the Big 12 against Kansas. What's the biggest thing you've seen from the tape the last 2 weeks as to why the offense has kind of stalled out a little bit in the second half?
I mean, I keep going back. We just hadn't had the ball much. I mean, I feel like it was over an hour in the Iowa State game that the offense was on the field, like in real time. You know, and I think it's hard to get back out there and get some sort of rhythm. I think if we can go back and get some rhythm, if you think about the Kansas game, we kept getting back out there pretty quick. You know, there was a lot of offense in that game. So we were right back out, moving the ball, making plays, and you were kind of in a pretty good rhythm. I think it's just lack of rhythm, but really, you know, and that's probably our fault because if you go 3 and out, you can't get any rhythm, you know. And I think back to the one drive in the second half, we got a lot on first down. It was 2nd and 1. We ran the ball, didn't get anything. It's 3rd and 1, and then we end up running an RPO. We end up pulling it, throwing it away, and I'm thinking, man, we got to get a yard right here. If you get that yard, now you're able to go get the tempo going and get the next series. So really, it's about getting in rhythm, and that's the things we have to work on to get better.
Bill Connolly does his rankings and uses a lot of metrics. And basically the takeaway week after week is that the talent and like the separation between teams is so much smaller than it was even three years ago. Do you agree with that? Are you seeing that kind of play out and that a lot of other teams and a lot more teams have chances to compete for national titles or playoff scenarios?
100%. You know, look at the scoring differential. I just saw it in the SEC the other day, the last 3 years, and it just keeps going like this. We know the Big 12's like that. Like every game's pretty close in the Big 12. You know, I think, and then now you have these conferences that have 16 teams, 17 teams in these conferences, and teams beat up on each other. I think you're also going to see more teams with losses. I mean, that's just the way it's going to be. You know, you think about NFL, how these teams, beat up on each other, and teams that are really good teams could be 3-3, you know, right now that are really good. You know, and I think you're going to see more and more of that in college football at the power level because there is, you know, everybody's got talent. You know, when you started, you know, putting the pay packages for everybody, then you're going to be able to go get some guys. Maybe if you know that team's not going to pay as much, but you need a player, you're going to get them. And what it does is just evens it out a lot more. You know, and then it becomes, all right, who's ready to play that day? That's really what it comes down to. And I think you've seen that so far in college football. Some of the upsets that's happened, it's incredible. That's why you can never sleep on anybody because the team that goes in is ready to play. Just allow them to get a couple plays. They're in that game now. Now they got momentum. Now they got confidence, you know, and who knows what's going to happen at the end of that thing. So you have to have that mindset of ready to go. You have to have a great week of preparation. That's why we talk about that so much here.
Evan, right now you're the highest rated guard in the country on Pro Football Focus. What does that say to you about the work you've put in, the effort you've poured into getting to this point?
Yeah, it shows a lot of stuff is paid off, but can't really pay attention to those things. Still got a lot of stuff to work on. I still have a lot of things I can fix. I'm not the best I think I can be, and I'll get there one day.
There were some guys that were interchanged last week on the line. Is that a good thing? Do you like taking a breather, or would you rather be out there on every play?
I feel like everybody would love to be out there every play, but we have a lot of great guys. Both too deep can play, start anywhere. So it's good to have guys that can play whenever.
What were the biggest lessons that you learned from Luke Kandra and DT in the 2 years that you were sitting behind them?
Yeah, 2 NFL top caliber guys. Sitting behind them, I just learned kind of pace of play, just kind of how we play here, our standard of football. They taught me a lot of things. They helped me. They told me what I need to work on, stuff like that. So,
how did you adjust to that pace of play? Because when you come in and it's zone and it's like high frequency, was it hard? Did you have to change the way you played, or was it just kind of a seamless transition?
I didn't have to change the way I play. Kind of just everything was just faster. Just kind of had to get more experience, and rotating last year helped me a lot. Rotating just helped me slow down the game, and now I'm right there with it.
Coach Satt just spoke about how you changed your body this offseason and gave testament to Coach Nico and his staff there in the weight room. Walk us through what this offseason was like. Obviously, we saw the numbers and the results. Things are starting to pay off. Walk us through what this offseason was like for you there with Coach Nico and his staff.
So, yeah, we sit down with both coaches before each offseason. They tell you things you need to work on, and you tell them what goals you have for yourself this offseason. So I just wanted to get my body in shape, ready for this season. Nico played a huge part in that. He did everything I asked of him. He pushed me where I needed to be pushed. got my body where it needed to be, and I knew what I needed to do. And then Carwell, one of the best O-line coaches, it's just hard not to get good when that guy's pushing right behind you.
You smile there as you mentioned Coach Cardwell. Walk us through what your relationship is like with him. Obviously, we see the hard work paid off, 3 times offensive line of the week here in the Big 12. Walk us through what your relationship is like with Coach Cardwell.
Yeah, just like a second father figure. He's always been there. He pushes me when I need to be pushed. Very hard on you. He wants you to be the best you can be, the best man possible. That's a big thing. It's not always all about football. It's about being the best person you can be. So that's what he does for me.
Obviously, a lot of depth there at the offensive line too. Guys like yourself, Taryn, this whole offensive line room. Walk us through what it's like to have that much depth at the offensive line, especially when you have 8 or 9 guys who can pick and play at any position.
Yeah, so there's really no stress for Carl, I assume, because having guys that can play whenever is just a huge advantage. We could rotate and have the same caliber level guy out there playing football. So,
What does Gavin mean, not just to the room, but to the entire team? Coach talks a lot about it, one of the best leaders he's ever been around. What's that like from the inside, seeing the way Gavin takes charge of things?
yeah, seeing the way he operates he's probably the ideal football player. He carries himself great. He's highly respected from everybody. Everyone on the team looks up to him. Yeah, it's just having someone like that. He keeps everybody in check. It's just great having someone with that experience and just that respect to him. So,
Makes everybody clean up after themselves.
yeah, make sure everybody's clean. There ain't no messes around this locker room.
With the way UCF held the ball last week and you guys were not on the field, are you looking forward to some like really long time-consuming drives this week?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to running the ball, really having a successful running game this week. I don't know if I'm looking forward to long drives, but definitely is going to be exciting game this week.
Fancher was a Wayne guy. Were you able to talk to him after the game and finally see him standing still?
Yeah, he was moving pretty good out there Saturday. But yeah, I talked to him after the game. We got to reconnect, take a couple pictures, so it was good seeing an old teammate.
Dante, you were there 2 years ago. It's a totally different team. They're a different team. You're a different team. But that wasn't much fun 2 years ago. Do you remind the guys of that experience in trying to motivate them this week?
Yeah, I was just talking to Zach about that. I'm like 45-13. Like, I still haven't left my mind from that. And also, like, pretty sure he broke a record last time we played this team. So I'm taking this with a grain of salt. Like, this is a team we need to shut out or do something to have a statement win.
It looked like you guys had 4 or 5 opportunities to sack Fancher, and he was just kind of slipping out. When you watched on film, was it lack of discipline? Was it him just being shifty? What did you see that you weren't able to finish those?
So I played him in high school, and I think my junior year. So I already knew how good, how mobile he is to get out the pocket. So I wasn't really surprised. I knew he was a good player as far as like getting out the pocket and extending plays. But just us finishing plays is like starting today. Like we gotta wrap up the scout team skills. Like that starts here. So if we don't do that on the Tuesday practice, we're not expecting to make it on the Saturday. So just harping on practice intensity and stuff like that.
Dante, obviously, Saturday you got to go against a former teammate and a guy you were close with, Miles Montgomery. You held him just to 56 yards. How exciting was it to, hold him to that and then reconnect with him on Saturday as well?
Yeah, it was happy to hold Miles down. You know, he liked to talk a lot of trash on the field, so we just one-upped him and decided for a team win, especially against a team like UCF, a rivalry team.
Where do you feel like you're at in terms of getting back to 100%? And how happy are you for guys like Isaiah, guys like Kamani, that are playing Kamari, sorry, that are playing pretty well in those reps that they're getting in your absence?
Yeah, like I know coming in this year I wasn't gonna be as dominant because how teams gonna scheme me up, but I just like how Kamari and Zay stepped up when I was hurt the last 2 games. And just happy, man. I don't got to be a superhero to make plays anymore. Just go out there and have fun.
How close are you to getting back to whatever number it is that you think is your reps?
I think my reps naturally go up every week, but it's just like every week I feel like I'm naturally just feeling better as far as my ankle and stuff like that. So take it one day at a time, staying in the training room all day, and then after practice, make sure I'm ready to play.
A couple games back, you came in the post game and you were pounding that podium pretty good, and saying this isn't like last year. This is, this team is different. Now you're coming up on a very pivotal game that'll mean a lot to the program. Tell me why it's different.
Just our maturity. Like, we know we went away from bowl eligible, but just having that maturity as far as, like, we know the team's, going through an uproar with the coaches getting fired and stuff like that. But also we saw on film on Sunday, they played with great effort to the fourth quarter. So we know they trying to have a great effort. It's homecoming for them. It's going to probably be a sold-out crowd for them, and I know it's going to be loud, so we can't take them lightly.
When the Clifton cut comes out and you hear other speeches, a lot of the coaches talk about like asserting your will and being aggressive. Does it feel like there's kind of the sense that can actually happen now, kind of going off Scott's question, that you guys can actually go out there and dominate and play the way you want to play and win?
Yeah, like this year we're not surprised at what the results we got this year, how much work we put in as far as like the front six with the linebackers and D linemen or the other position groups. We know how much gases we ran in the summertime that nobody want to be out there doing and all the extra work. So we're not really surprised with this. We just make sure we stay level-headed and not really going outside our comfort zone.
Dante, obviously moving forward to Oklahoma State as a defensive tackle, obviously looking at Oklahoma State, you see a guy like Sam Jackson at quarterback who has played quarterback in the past, played receiver in the past, now back at quarterback. How hard is it to kind of look and see what he does on film, knowing, A, he hasn't played much quarterback this year, but B, knowing he has the skill set to do a lot of different things and affect this game?
Yeah, I think people forget he was like the #1 quarterback out of Illinois, so he's not a scrub. So we know we gotta game plan him hard and try to, keep a container or something on him, because we know he can be deadly at one point.
And then obviously, too, sitting 5-1 right now, 3-0 in the Big 12, a big opportunity on Saturday, obviously big-time favorites. How easy is it to kind of, for players to maybe get locked in when they see big-time favorites, but to know this is another opportunity to where on Saturday it could be bowl eligible for the first time in 3 years?
I'm pretty sure nobody happy in this building as far as, like, we had 5 wins last year and we didn't win another game after that. So we're really taking that with a grain of salt. Like, the season's still, we got a lot of games left to take serious and taking one game at a time. Being 1-0, that's like our motto here with Nico. So just taking one day at a time. That's just starting here. Starting right now, talking to you guys. So just taking one moment at a time and one day at a time.
Any other questions? Thanks, Dante.
Yeah, then one more thing. Jim Kelly, him passing away, man. Just what he did for me, like as a player, as like throughout my career. Like, just a nice guy, and I just want to say I appreciate him and his family, and my condolences out to them.
Brendan, the completion percentage has dropped a little bit in the last 2 weeks. Is that something you focus on? Do you worry about it much? Do you have a number that, like, 65% or whatever that you're working towards?
I wouldn't really say it's something I worry about as long as we're winning games, but the goal is definitely, at minimum 65. My goal every game is 70. But yeah, these past 2 weeks, definitely not the best games completion percentage-wise, so we got to find a way to get that back up.
I asked Evan the same thing. Are you looking forward to like a long time-consuming drive just to get back to the way it was? Because after the frustration of watching the other team on the field while you couldn't get on it?
I don't really know if we're ever looking for, a long drive or anything. I think we're just trying to score whatever that's, 1-play drive or 15-play drive. We just want to score touchdowns. So I know the defense feels the same way. They don't care if, if we're out there for 1 play and we score, or if we're out there for, 15 plays. It doesn't matter. They just want us to put points on the board. We want to put points on the board, and, if we're doing that, everybody will be good with however many plays that is.
When the offense is struggling and you're trying to find a rhythm, in your opinion, what specific kind of play helps you get into that? Is it a 67-yarder to Royer? Is it back-to-back first downs? What helps you get into that rhythm?
I don't know, because the 67-yarder to Royer, I don't know if that gets you necessarily a rhythm. It's just a big spark for the offense. Definitely a spark that we needed. And then got tripped on an inside zone on the goal line, and then kind of shot ourselves in the foot there. So definitely just getting the first down is the most important thing for us. I think whenever we do that, we're really good.
and we usually find a way to go put points on the board when we do that. So our mentality is just go get that first down and, keep the chains moving.
Brendan, you've been here for a little over a year and a half now. Obviously, Jim Kelly was a guy you probably got to know really well over that time span. Walk us through what he meant like into your transition here, and if you have any favorite moments of him with your time here, just share those as well.
Yeah, so obviously everybody in this program knows how much he meant to this program, just how big of a Bearcat he was. I did not get to interact with him, as much as I would have liked to. Just schedules and everything just didn't get to align. But the few times that I did, he was an awesome guy. He spoke very highly of this place, and he was just an all-around Bearcat. And, he'll be very deeply missed by this program and organization for sure.
Brendan, just one turnover for you through 6 games. You've only played one true road game, but given your ability to take care of the football this season, how much pride do you and Coach Satterfield take in that, knowing that you're not giving teams extra possessions, you're taking care of the football, allowing you guys offensively to do what you want to do?
The football is pretty much everybody in this organization's life, so you got to take care of it. It's how you win football games. Usually if you win the turnover margin, the turnover battle throughout the game, you're going to have a good chance to win it. And I think, us taking care of the ball has been a huge reason for our success. So we just got to continue to do that.
Kind of going off that, do you hate throwing the ball away?
Yeah, that's terrible for the completion percentage, but you have to do that. It's bad for the completion percentage, but like I said, you just got to know when to eat it and when to move on. And we do have some very explosive, players on our offense that allow us to be able to live another down and, go pick up big chunk plays. So, it sucks to throw the ball away, but sometimes you got to do it.
Does your mind flash to West Virginia last year when you think you hate throwing the ball away and you're like, no, it's
Yeah, no, definitely, that's just like last year, learning experiences like that. Just knowing whenever, you're not going to pick up every 4th down, you're not going to pick up every 3rd down. And now, we've got a really good punter and special teams unit. Defense is playing really well, and we're able to sustain long drives and put points on the board. So we just got to trust ourselves to pick it up next drive and trust our defense and special teams to get us out of some sticky situations.
How much easier is that rhythm when Evan and Tawi are churning out yards? You could see it against Iowa State when they were really going, like it felt like you guys jumped on it quick. Central Florida did a good job kind of limiting their production, and it felt like maybe the offense suffered a little bit finding that rhythm because of it.
Yeah, especially on our 3 and outs and stuff like that. We pick up a big chunk play, and then we go backwards, and then, we get stopped on 3rd down. So we just got to find a way to get that first down, whether that's Evan, Tawi, me, throwing the ball, whatever it may be. But whenever we have both the run and pass game going, we're really tough to stop. So we got to find a way to have both of them going this Saturday.
You were at 5 wins last year with a bunch to play. You're at 5 wins this year with 6 to play. Why is this team different? How can it move forward?
Just the culture, that we've established. Everybody understands our goal is to, be in Dallas at the end of the year. Our goal isn't just to make it to a bowl game. So, the message is still the same. Go 1-0 this week, and just find a way to get better.
Oh, chat.
How much have you heard from Cyrus this week that he only got 1 catch?
He was letting me have it during the game a little bit, and then I had to remind him, that we only had 12 completions just as a Cyrus, you think I want to have 12 completions? That's what I told him. So he understood. I give him a hard time. We go back and forth all the time. Obviously, he's a really good player, so he wants the ball. And we'll find a way to get our playmakers the ball just throughout the rest of the year because whenever they're making plays, we're at our best.
Is it a challenge with so many guys playing at, like, Jeff's playing at a high level, Isaiah, Noah, Royer, Cyrus? Is it a challenge for you to feed, get all the mouths fed?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough to, it's a great problem to have. You want to have that problem, versus like, who are we going to throw the ball to? We have a ton of talented guys. We got a ton of talented running backs and guys that can run the ball too. So it's tough. Obviously, not everybody's going to eat every single game, but we just got to keep everybody on the same page and know that if we just keep this thing rolling, everybody's eventually going to eat, and we're all going to succeed in the end. So, as a team, we all know what we want to achieve, and what we're doing right now is moving in the right direction in that.
Brendan, on the first touchdown to Jeff on Saturday, walk us through that play. Obviously, they send the linebacker on the blitz. Did you know you just had to stand in there, give Jeff a little bit more time to put some air on that ball, and walk us through what that play kind of was like, and then for Jeff to kind of say, hey, shout out Central Florida for leaving me open there. Walk us through that play.
Yeah, he's a character for sure. I saw a video of him saying that he was a bird watcher, come back up, so I'm like, okay, this guy is a character. So he's a really talented wideout. I knew that there was a chance that he was going to take a deep, really just wanted to see what he was going to do, and then just standing there, take a little bit of a hit. O-line did a good job protecting all day, another game with no sacks. So, shout out to those guys, and then shout out to Jeff for being fast and being able to go track a deep ball down, and, it was a big-time touchdown.
Two good plays to Joe, and then he stumbled, and he got caught. Who's in charge of making sure his cleats or the shoelaces are tied?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a Joe problem, honestly. I don't know if there's too many other people that can help him with that one. So we'll get his shoes tied and make sure he's all good, and we'll move on.
You've shown good anticipation a lot so far this season. On the throw to Jeff, were you reading the safety being flat-footed? Because it looked like before he was even past him, you had already let the ball go.
Yeah, and you can kind of tell by Jeff's body language too. Obviously, I knew I had to get rid of the ball, and then I had a good feeling what Jeff was going to do, and then, I had to let it go. So I was hoping that he was going to do that, and we had kind of talked about it throughout the week. If their safeties were flat, that we'd have a chance to hit that. So, he did a good job reading it and just put it up, and he did the rest.
So a big part of it was just you saw the rusher and you had to throw it somewhere, see if you'd take a shot.
I had a good plan, and then he came, which sped up my plan, and I was hoping that Jeff was on the same page, and it ended up working out.
Speaking of Jeff, Brendan, obviously 6'5", 220-pound frame for Jeff. Obviously, the back fade touchdown there. Knowing with his frame and his skill set, obviously he called it a 90-10 ball. I mean, feels like you can go up and get it any time. Walk us through how it's like to have confidence between guys like Jeff, guys like Cyrus, to have that confidence to say, hey, I can go make a play at any time.
Yeah, the biggest thing is confidence whenever you're out there. If you don't believe in yourself to be able to go make a play, more than likely you're probably not going to make it. So especially from the wideout position, you got to be confident, which our guys are. Our guys want the ball, and they want to be the one to make the play in the big situation. So it's just my job to go out there and make sure they have a chance to make the play.